Alright guys, it's the Mighty Glass Score bringing you the GWDL Season 1 Zekrom Division Power Rankings. To start us off, we have the first team by Fist Year Doom. Go ahead, Doge, if you want to introduce them.
Alright, so this team is made by Fistier Doom, but the more formal name is the Cult of the Mighty Rootin' Tootin' Seal Bash Militia Bros and their evil twins, starring Mega Reggie Metallics, proud member of the Plant Gang, and his happily watered and jazzy tears who is currently being held up by the Sklock while his dad drives his brother to safety, Sonic the Greninja, Green Hill Zone, home, and our model yeets his son Igglybuff to meet them there to save him from Kabutops, who is snipping the manly bits off of everyone in PGP against their will, while his good pal Rufflet tells J-Caps to cope, cry, and LARP the honest Dawn Sandstorm as the honest Tusk and the honest Treads join the fray, and Registeel rides off into the sunset on his favorite haunts, which I think is supposed to be horse. And oh my god, is that a guest appearance from the best Gen 9 starter Quaxley? This Pokemon Draft League team is sponsored by Has. I'm not really sure what he was thinking making this. He's got an icon for his team that words can't describe because there's too much going on. But basically whatever I just said, that's what it is. He's the
Amazing.
guy who drafted Genesect round 1, so immediately off to an advantage. He's got a pretty strong first four mons with Zeraora, Tapu Fini, Tornadus T, and Genesect.
For sure.
Do you guys want to add anything else in?
So I guess like you said, the top 4 Mons perfect. I mean, I can easily see the top 4 Mons plus Mega Gallade and then an oddball coming in. The issue is it'll probably have to be Krook or Wishcash almost every week if they want to set hazards. As well as like the only I mean they do have really solid momentum in the first like in Genesect, Torn, Zeraora. So that's gonna be really good for them as far as maybe trying to play around hazard stacking against them. I mean they do have good defoggers too. But they won't have like a way to pressure their opponent outside of just pure offense, which I guess is fine. I mean, you do have insane offense. I can't really see a problem with the team other than it might be a little too easy to prep for because teams are going to know what to expect. It's not like the team has multitude of threats that's going to really break them down. It'll be easy to prep for in the sense that they'll know what's coming, but are they going to be able to stop it? I don't think so.
Yeah, the only other issue I can see is over-prepping for everything else and then dying to Contrary Superior.
Yeah.
I've had the displeasure of fighting that before, and it's not fun.
Yeah, you know Contrary Superior is coming, but sometimes you just can't stop it.
The other thing I noticed, they've got 6 knockoff users.
Yeah.
So it's very, like, potentially they could just bring all 6 knockoff users, except they'd have to leave out Genesect from their team, which would suck. But items are not going to stay on that week.
Yeah, and it's a good way to break Scarfers that could potentially beat Serp, potentially beat Zeraora, can potentially beat Scarf Genesect. Yeah, I mean, knocking off a Scarf against this team is going to be huge. Yeah, I really like this team. It's pretty good.
Yep. The only other issue, Porygon 2 and Superior, they're kind of, I mean, Porygon 2 more so, but he relies on status in Toxic and Thunderwave to kind of mess with people and then like either recover, spam, or teleport out. And then Superior sometimes uses Glare to like set up, I don't know, just make setup easier.
Right.
So Tapu Fini kind of messes with that, but other than that, it's a pretty good team.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess yeah, that's kind of true. There is a bit of a clash with the Misty Terrain. But, yeah. I think this is a solid team. I myself would give it probably a, yeah, I would say probably 9. Maybe
Right.
I'll lower it to an 8 as I see more of the teams throughout the division. But first glance, I mean, it's solid. It's a solid 9.
Yeah, 8.5 or 9, probably around it.
So the next team we have here is the Nippon Nidoran, coached by Mr. Blep. I don't even know where to start with this team. It has a really solid top 5 and then an even crazier bottom 7 of just straight Z-move users as well as good utility mons. Um, yeah, I'm struggling to see, I guess, a glaring issue immediately looking at it. Maybe it's a little weak to Fairy, that's all, because Corviknight is really the only switch-in. But, I mean, it's a really good switch-in. Probably one of the best switch-ins to Fairy-type moves.
Yeah, I think Ditto was a really solid choice. I was fighting so hard for Mr. Blip to keep it, because Ditto's just such a centralizing one in drafts, in my opinion. Um, yeah, really good top 5 ones, as Glasgow said. And then I feel like the last slot everyone's gonna be fighting for. I don't really see a use for like Licky Tongue. I mean, I guess a Violate, but like,
It
I don't
has
know.
it has
I
wish
just thought it
passing,
was
I
weird.
guess.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Unless it's only Licky Licky that gets it, but I'm sure it gets wish passed just like Licky Licky.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a possibility, but I mean they really went ahead and just got like spent all their points on lower tiers just to fill like one niche, which isn't a bad thing when you have such a solid top 5. Um, and the more niches that he has in the bottom 7 is less things Mew wants to do every week, because the biggest issue with Mew is most people draft Mew and then it becomes a hazard setter every week. It never gets to like try a Swords Dance set or a Nasty Plot set or any sort of
Dragon Ball.
other, yeah, like any other sort of set that would actually kind of, other than, oh, I set up hazards and I click Will-O-Wisp.
Yeah. I think, yeah, that's a good thing. Um, I don't know. He's got really good speed tiers on most everything. Zamazenta's going to be a threat, especially when you slap like Choice Band or anything on there.
For
And
sure.
Shinpaz, I don't know. Shinpaz pretty good. Jolteon, I guess, really fast, but I think it's kind of excessive since you already have 2 like above 130 speed Pokemon.
Right.
Diance's good. Mew. Yeah, I'm excited to see what Mew does this season.
Yeah. I think
Um,
the one, if I had to make a small change with this, I would have grabbed a Pursuit Trapper for Zama, because if you can Pursuit Trap a Ghost, Zamazenta will just win. A sub Iron Defense, I mean, just Pursuit Trap the Ghost and GG. I don't
yeah.
think, because Chien-Pao came out in Gen 9, I don't think it gets Pursuit.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, it'll
Um,
certainly threaten Ghost types, but I mean, nobody in their right mind is staying in on a Chien-Pao.
I think, yeah, swapping like Jolteon, Lickitung, and Corsola, I think could be good. And then getting like Bisharp or whatever instead. It
Yeah.
might mess up the type chart a little bit, because then you are a lot weaker to fighting.
But they're already kind of weak to fight it in ground as it is, so.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I guess maybe. No, I don't know.
yeah, I
They've
mean,
got a very even distribution of types.
types,
They
yeah.
have everything except for poison and bug. So, you know, if they really wanted to, they could swap out Lickitung for Beedrill, but I don't think that's necessary.
That way they have every type. I mean, one thing with the team is that the weaknesses on like the type chart are kind of huge. I mean, weak to water, um, basically means you can be scald spammed on. Weak to fighting, is pretty bad. I mean, like, this team really doesn't have a good Valiant answer, but like fairy fighting coverage is just insane against this team, as well as clicking EQ. I mean, like, Corviknight is basically the backbone of the team, so Corviknight may be a little stressed. That's all.
Yeah,
That's probably
I
going to be
think
like the big issue with the team.
Roost, Mew, and Corviknight are really like their only defensive mons, unless you don't Mega Evolve Diancie.
Yeah, or you
So,
run Zama in like some sort of like AV, like super defensive, like kind of set.
Swampert or something.
Or
Yeah.
yeah, even Swampert could, I guess, be defensive too, but they're both mons that lack recovery. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, the hazard situation on this team's good. The momentum situation. I mean, you have Mew who fills a lot of roles. You've got Ditto that can essentially reverse sweep or do some other shenanigans as far as copying mons on the other team. And then you, of course, have Sama, and Qianpao, which are just monstrous threats. What would you give this team as far as rating?
Um, I'm not sure. Maybe like an 8? Probably in the lower end of an 8, though. I
Yeah,
think this team does have a few flaws in its fighting weakness.
for sure. Yeah, I think lower, yeah, 7.58 is fair for this team. Next up, we have Prism Goons, coached by GameWiz. It's a very strong team with Annihilate, Megalotti, Tinglu, Volcarona, as well as Togekiss, Regieleki, Vanillix, Savali, Tinkaton, Quillfish, Leavanny, Ursaring. Um, yeah, any thoughts as far as this team? I mean, like you're looking at it, it looks very offensive, but as well as like it's just a really good balanced team.
I think we saw this is like a better executed. I don't know who it was who just drafted Hyper Offense and then Grimmsnarl for screens in Reshiram.
Hmm.
This is like the natural evolution of this. I think Annihilate, Megaladios, Volcarona all love screens. And
Yeah.
then you've got Regieleki, I guess, kind of Regieleki to set screens.
Hmm.
Vanilla with Aurora Veil and Snow Warning, and then like Leavanny, but you're not usually going to be running Leavanny. I think really solid team all around. They've got so many threats, and they've got Tinglu for hazards.
Yeah, Tinglu's so hard to kill, man.
They're not
Um,
even worried about their own like dying to their own hazards either, because they've got Regieleki with Rapid Spin, and then like 4 defog users.
yeah,
The only potential issue I could see is Silvali's really not that great. He's kind of like a noob trap Pokemon. It's just for people who are like, oh look, he changes into any type and he can fit any role on my team. Because I knew I was like that, and then I kind of looked at the move pool, and he's not all that great.
yeah. I
Um,
think there's still some good niches that could fill in the team, like being a grounded poison or being a dragon type for defensive purposes. I mean, as well as defensively water. I think the biggest issue with Silvally is it just doesn't have healing. Like it would be way better if it
yeah.
had a way to heal.
Also, it can't do the thing Arceus does, where it holds a Z crystal and changes to that type. It has to manually hold the whatever it is, disc,
Yeah,
or I think that's what they use.
the
And
memory.
then
Yeah.
you can't run an item,
Hmm.
like leftovers for healing. But yeah, Screen's hyper offense, just kind of insane. They've got 3 setup sweepers.
Yeah, Calm Mind, Dragon Dance, Megalotti, Bulk Up, Annihilate, Volcarona. Um, you can even run like Nasty Plot, Togekiss behind screens. Um, or SD Tinkaton. Ursaring's also like you think it's not that good because it's Ursaring, but it does have a Violite now. Um,
Yeah, I'm checking and it's got 130 base attack, and that's kind of scary.
yeah, I mean it's very hard to kill as well, especially behind screens. Um, Guts Facade, it's baby Ursaluna, even though Ursaring's been a fully evolved Pokemon for so long.
I'm gonna take out Leavanny real quick. Yeah, if you take out Leavanny, then it removes most of its weaknesses and just gets it weak to ground. So, usually since you're not gonna be bringing that, I think it's a pretty solid team. Maybe like a 9.
Yeah, I think nine's fair because I mean screen hyper offense that's executed this as well as I mean you basically have like I just love the Tinglu pick on this team because Stealth
Mhm.
Rock spikes, you can Whirlwind, Ruination to chip things down. You can even rest to heal back to full. I mean the thing's so hard to kill that you know it's just really good on this team because it's gonna chip a lot of things down and then
If
you
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 run
get your insane
Whirlwind
ones. Yeah,
double, Whirlwind double hazards could be nice too.
for
Just
sure.
trying to chip away at whatever else, and then get rich or lucky or whatever to come in and just wipe it.
Yeah, because you would think that like a mon like Tinglu would be passive, but I mean, when you have Whirlwind, there's no setting up in front of Tinglu. I mean, there's basically nothing you can do unless you're running Taunt, like Taunt setup, and then maybe you shut Tinglu down. But I mean, the thing's also very strong as far as Earthquakes and Ruinations to break sub. I mean,
Throat chop too.
yeah, it's really good.
Yep.
Um,
Um, this team's one of the reasons I'm glad I'm not in Zekrom.
yeah, this is a monster of a team. Next up, we have King Skelly, coached by DJ. Very offensive team with Screens, Grimmsnarl, Spectre, Zamazenta Crowned, Garchomp, I mean, as well as a Slush Rush sweeper on the team, Sandslash Alola, to abuse a chilly reception from Slowking. Um, yeah, how are you feeling about this team?
So I'm really excited that Slush Rush sweep could be a thing, but also this draft's a little bit whack. I think having Donphan and Garchomp is kind of repetitive.
Yeah.
You've already got a default user with Thundurus, and like I don't know, I don't think you need another ground type. Probably need a steel type other than Sandslash Alola. He's kind of like Slush Rush is good, but he
Right.
still dies in one hit to everything with like the amount of weaknesses he has.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Especially
not a defensive mon at all.
no.
I think maybe if Donphan was some sort of hazard removal steel type, this would be a little bit better. I mean, like Defog being like when you have Rapid Spin on Donphan and Sandslash, and Defog on Masquerain and Thundurus, that can be a bit of a problem, because like though they're not the best hazard removal mons there are. I think isn't Arctozolt also down there? Is Arctozolt higher up than I'm thinking, or could they have added Arctozolt to the team?
No, I think he's I'm not sure. I'll have to check the doc, but I think he's like pretty high up.
Because I'm gonna say if it might be like 13 to 11 points, but Arctozolt is such a better Slush Rush sweeper in my opinion than Sandslash.
Yeah.
As you point out, Sandslash being the only steal on the team. I mean, there's Zamazenta Crowned, which, but like that's not. It's not like a mon that you really switch in a lot of things on. Like, I mean, you can, um, since it has 140 in both defenses, but like, yeah, I don't know how I feel.
Mostly, I think mostly you're just gonna be using this team to pivot around. I think Vaporeon's a bit odd. I mean, it gets wish support, but it feels like kind of a momentum drain.
Yeah, for
Thundurus,
sure.
um, for like Thundurus, you could go like T-Wave and stuff, and then you turn and Volt Switch for pivoting, but you're just going to be pivoting into the big threats like Zamazenta and Spectre, which complement each other really nicely, because Zamazenta hits all the dark types, and then from there Spectre takes it all.
Yeah, I love. Yeah, such a good 1-2 punch. But yeah, I agree with you on Vaporeon as well. Yeah, it just feels odd here. Um, could drop Vaporeon, drop Wailord, and pick up a one. I'm assuming Wailord is 1 point. Get a 1 point improvement on Vaporeon.
Yeah, I think he's probably 2 or something. I was really confused, because I haven't seen him, like, ever. But I think, I'm not really sure if you need webs, to be honest. Because your big threats are 130 and 128
Yeah.
on speed. Um,
As well as you
yeah,
get Prankster Tailwind on Thundurus too, so I mean that's always something you could run for speed instead of Masquerain.
a lot of prankster mons, which usually would be a problem if this guy was facing dark types, but then again, he's got Zama crowned, so not really anything to worry about.
Right. Yeah, so yeah, I mean like the only momentum they have on the team is Thundurus. And I guess Slowking with Chilly
Chill.
Reception and it gets teleport too, right?
They gutted it in
Oh
when they
yeah.
added.
Yeah, it doesn't have teleport. So yeah, Chilly Reception and Volt Switch U-turn from Thundurus is really the only. I mean, unless you're bringing Masquerain, but um, I highly doubt that'll be a mon that comes a lot. Um, but yeah, I mean, it does have a very like I feel like this team could be an easy what's it called hyper offense team. You just hazard stack with
Yep.
Garchomp, go Grimmsnarl, set up your screens, parting shut out, and Spectre has can just kind of click Shadow Ball.
Yep. Say like maybe a solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah, that's fair for this team. Okay, so next up we have the Villainous Wormadam, coached by Carnation, a team featuring Melmetal as the main, big mon of the draft, as well as Zeus Bothra, got Delmise for hazard removal, Politoed Ludicolo for like a rain core, as well as Dracovish for rain, with being able to spam Vicious Rend. Then there's Hatterene on the team. There's Scizor. There's Snorlax, Zoroark. It's kind of all over the place as I'm kind of looking at it. I'm not sure like what's the key thing on this team. I mean, there's like a lot of things it can do, but like what is it trying to do?
Yep. I think that's a good way to put it. I kind of looked at this team and I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. They're triple stacking psychic types, water types, and I guess technically Stelmise is a steel type because it's steel worker, but
Yeah.
they've got like rain and no way to abuse it, which is like the only thing people do with rain nowadays. Swift Slim Ludicolo is not what comes to mind when I think of rain sweeping. Zorora Kasui, I guess you could get some cheeky plays with it, but like I don't even know. I'm just not sure. Like
Yeah, the only
there's a
hazard
lot going on
removal
here.
is Scizor. I guess Hatterene counts if you Magic Bounce. But there
Yep.
is no hazard setting of their own outside of
Yeah.
T-Spikes on Drapion.
Like I don't even know. This guy went Domise round 3, which definitely an interesting pick when you already have a steel type. I don't know. I just don't think of like I'm not sure what this guy was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find some sort of like
Salvageable?
something with this team, but I just don't see anything that's like, wow. I mean, like you said, Zoroark could have some plays. I mean, close combat from a close combat against Snorlax, close combat against Melmetal. Um, I guess. I mean, like I don't know
Yep.
what the team is trying to do. Um,
This team would die really easily to a good pursuit trapper. I think Bisharp could probably walk this guy.
yeah, I mean, like, and then when you want to get to the next point of the team is the speed tiering.
Oh boy, yeah, I didn't look at that.
110
They've
on
got 3
Zoroark.
trick room movers. Like, I don't even think this guy would be running trick room, but if he did, he's got Hatterene, Melmar, and Spathra.
Yeah, speed boost, trick room.
Oh,
I mean, it has other
yeah, I guess
abilities,
so. I
but
mean, opportunity maybe, but that's not really. I kind of want to see that happen. Speed boost trick room.
would be pretty
Knockoff,
funny.
we've got like 6 knockoff users. I'm just really not sure why this guy didn't draft any hazards, and his only hazard removal is whatever it is, Delmise,
And
like,
Scizor.
and Scizor. He's got 3 pivots with, Zoroark, Scizor, and Espathra gets U-turn? Alright, Espathra gets U-turn. Um, yeah, I don't know. Melbourne and Espathra are like the only things that work here. I guess Dracovish too. Yeah, this is kind of a train wreck of a team, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I can't see anything that's like gonna be. I mean, it I guess here I found it. I found what the saving grace of the team is when you're playing against the team, you're not gonna have a clue what 6 mons are coming.
That's it. Yeah, that's actually good.
That's it.
Um,
That's how this team works. Because you don't know if you're playing Trick Room, you don't know if you're playing Rain, you don't know if you're playing just Fat. Like you don't know what you're playing.
I think
And
it'd be kind of funny if this guy just drafts, like, if he brings 6 really bad mons and then just has Dracovish in the back and wipes you. That could definitely be a possibility. But for now, I'm gonna be confused if I were to fight this guy, but I think I'm not even sure what he'd be able to kill me with besides Dracovish and Melmetal.
yeah. Um Unfortunately I'm gonna give this team a 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5 I think is good.
Yeah, it's just yeah, I don't even know what else to say.
Yeah, words can't describe.
So next up we have
100%.
the Blazing Infernapes, coached by Enton, a team that is stripped straight out of the center region. We have the mascot Infernape, Enamorous, Slowbro, Cleaver, Sui and Gudra, Typhlosion, and Samurott, as well as Electrode, Mega Aggron, Mamoswine, and Hitmontop. Um, Yeah, this team is interesting. It's just like the team we covered in Reshiram with the Gen 9 OU team. This looks like, Legends Arceus was played and they wanted to try out every mon. I mean, this is interesting to say the least.
Yep. I think there is definitely this guy's. I mean, I don't want to judge or anything, but this guy's probably on the lower skill level. Mega Aggron was just kind of picked because he's a physical ball, but he's doesn't really get any recovery besides rest.
And same
Um,
with Hisui and Gudra.
yeah, I think playing Legends Arceus and then joining a draft league is a pretty good way to say this guy's team. 90% sure, like eight, maybe eight of these mons are from Legends Arceus. Mega Aggron and Hitmontop, I don't think are, and maybe Slowbro. But yeah, his only form of hazards is Stealth Rock, either from Stone Axe or from Mamoswine or Aggron. I don't think you're going to want to be running that on Infernape. And then his only form of hazard removal is Rapid Spin Hitmontop, unless you want to use Defog Cleavor, which probably not.
Yeah.
His speed tiers aren't great either. It's just Electrode Hisui is a cleaner, and then everything else is hovering like just under 110 or under 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like the double. See, the thing with double steel cores is when you try to make typically a double steel core would be super spadef and then super defense, which this team does, but neither have recovery. So
Yeah.
it's just weird because like if it was like Hisui and Gudra and Corviknight, like at least one of them gets recovery.
Yep.
But
Um,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
like
check, but I don't think this guy's Wish either.
um, I don't
Yeah, no.
see a Wishbone. Um, I mean,
Your only EQ switch in is an Amorous.
the only what switch in?
EQ switch
Oh,
in,
yeah, as
and I
well
guess
as
filter
really the only
Mega
fighting
Aggron.
switch in too.
Yep. Oh boy.
Like you get Slowbro, so like a great Tuscan to this team, you have like to go Slowbro or an Emrys, and Slowbro does not like getting knocked off.
Yeah. An Amorous is kind of holding this team together, and
Yeah,
that's not usually a good thing, because it's not even the Therian, which is like actually defensive.
yeah, like this thing does what? Close combat contrary, and
That's it.
it also gets what? Dazzling Gleam hyper or Dazzling Gleam, and
I think the Springtime Storm, or whatever it's called, as its signature move.
yeah.
Other than that, it's got like normal special moves like Earth Power and all that. Yeah, I don't know. Usually you'd want to use Slowbro to pivot into your big threats. But this guy's only real big threats are like Infernape and Scarfed Typhlosion. I guess Enamorous maybe, but like,
Yeah, and
I'm
Emrys,
not even sure.
and then like Mamoswine just never wants to be a lead mon in this. Like you kind of want to run offensive Mamoswine every week.
Yeah,
And Mamoswine is really the thing with Mamoswine is it's base 80 speed, so like sure it's offensive, but it still has to take a hit to make a play.
yep. I forgot to mention Samurai Hisui gets spikes, but I don't even think that's gonna save this team.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the only hazard that's not spikes. I mean maybe it gets a good hazard stack off like Cleaver, and then you go Samurott. I mean Samurott Hisui with sharpness Aqua Cutters are still pretty strong. Um,
Yeah.
base
Usually
108.
you're gonna.
Um, Aqua Cutter does. Yeah, I mean, I guess the other thing with the team is it's very physical attacking focused. I mean, you have mixed Ape, you have mixed Enamorous, and then Gujar Hisui, and then I don't see any other mon. I mean, Typhlosion, I guess, but like that's what four special attacking mons, and then the rest of the team is physical attacking.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. Ooh, that doesn't look good. I mean, Samurai Hisui does technically have 100 special attack, but since it has sharpness, you're not running like I don't even know what sharp special attacks there are.
I don't think there are any. I mean, unless you're just gonna say screw sharpness and run torrent hydro pumps.
Yeah, it'd be kind of funny.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I
I don't
mean,
know.
if the team had a better way to check ground and fighting, I think it would be a little bit better. As well as if it didn't have two steel types that didn't have recovery. Um, because I mean that's like the biggest flaw of the team because both steel types are weak to ground and fighting, and both steel types don't have a way to deal with ground or fighting.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good way to beat it. Even filter on Mega Aggron isn't really gonna do much.
Yeah, like if you bring either steel type to check like a mega alt, and then it gets flamethrower or it gets fire blast and earthquake. So like Gujar might be able to check fire blast, but then it doesn't check earthquake, and Mega Aggro might be able to check earthquake, but it's not going to take a fire blast. So
Yep.
I don't know. I'm not sure how. Yeah, I mean, I would give it probably a 7, maybe a 6. Um,
I
it'd be
think
fun to see
probably
all the
like
Hisuian mons, but
yeah, 6 is probably good.
yeah.
This team's just like missing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. So we have the New York Nido Kings next. Coach is PBS. Unfortunately, he's not here right now to hype up his team. But let's talk about this fat, bulky offense team that he always drafts. Megalodios, Nidoking, Heatran, Zapdos, B Sharp, Kyurem, Slowking, Blissey, Chestnut, Crocodile. I mean, talk about a team that is just going to be able to sit on Mons. I mean, like, it's interesting though because in the first rendition of the team, he had a Toxapex and he had another regen mon as well. Because I think this team would pair really well with a regen core actually. Um,
Yep.
Especially because Zapdos with Roost, Spadef Heatran, Kyurem and Megalodi to break through stuff. Um, yeah, I mean,
Electric type kind of trying to break in through the Toxapex looking core.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like, the only weakness on the type chart is Earthquake, which, I mean, there's a flying type, there's a Levitator, and Chestnut is the ultimate Earthquake switch in on the team. And then there's, Blissey for Spadef. Um, I think there's, no Wish support on the team.
Yeah, let me
Um,
check.
which could be a bad thing, but I mean, the only mon
Oh
that.
no, he's got Wish. Blissey and Latios.
Oh, right, yeah,
Blissey
Bliss.
Wish is
Oh,
gonna hit hard.
wow, I can't believe I forgot Blissey got Wish. Um, yeah, so Blissey, yeah, I mean, Blissey Wish, jeez, yeah, that's gonna. I mean, imagine a Spadef Heatran that just gets full healed by Blissey. Um,
Yeah, I think this team is like, this team's gonna be insane. There's really not like a bad mon in here. His defensive core is so insanely hyped with Heatran, Zapdos, Slowking, and Blissey and Chestnut. Crocodile for the unaware. Slap an Eviolite? A Violite? I don't know.
yeah,
Slapping a Violite on there and like he won't die. Nidoking, Latias, and Kyurem, like, how do you even counter that? I guess an ice type. Then you've got Heatran with the 4 times resist.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just a really good team.
It's funny, Enton's team's Mamoswine actually looks really good into this team.
Yeah.
Um,
Or like, yeah, no.
like,
Even like, I don't know, does Kyurem get Flash Cannon?
yeah, I
That
think
could be
so.
pretty good for.
I guess like the only other issue with the team is the lack of Z move users, which isn't really an issue. Just it's a cool thing that our league's allowing Z moves. So like not being able to kind of abuse it is kind of funny. But maybe Chestnut will have a nice little thing, or even Bisharp with like Stelium Zeke and kind of. But then again, I mean Bisharp and Crocolore as Zmons are gonna want to run a Violite, and then Blissey it could run a Z move, maybe. I don't know any of like I can't think of anything that's gonna be like Z move on Blissey.
Yeah,
Um,
it's probably got like Z teleport's nice, especially because like I mean, it's got soft boiled, so it's usually not gonna want to run that. But
Hmm.
I think it's cool. You've got Bisharp covers the ghost types that Latias struggles with really well.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, pretty good. Like the bulky offense team.
Yeah, the bulky offense team as well as good ways to set hazards too. Um, I mean, you figure Chestnut setting spikes, Heatran Blissey with rocks. I mean, Nidoking can even run rocks and T spikes. Um, and then Mega Lottie, you figure you get a couple Calm Minds up, you get a DD up. I mean, you get something that'll be able to sweep. I mean, like Sub Kyurem is insane in this team. There's a lot of things about this team that are going to be really good. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of things about this team that is good. I mean, like, yeah. There's just a few things that are like unfortunate about the team, like lack of Z move user, Bisharp being the only one with knockoff. Um, is another issue, I guess, because if teams are running, band or specs to kind of blow through your defensive core, then you kind of can't remove that. Um,
Yeah.
and I guess the speed tier is an obvious thing we have to mention. 2 months at over base 100, but who cares about speed when you're running bulky offense? I mean, it does let other teams that play against you not have to care about their speed stat, but you know you still have to break the team, and I think it's just a really good team. Um, I would say what 8, probably on pace with the 9s.
Yeah.
Um,
Like a very, very high 8.
yeah,
Maybe even I think 9's fair for this team.
yeah, for sure. Any other last comments you have for the team?
Um, I'm a big Slowking and Teleport fan, so Teleport into like Nidoking or Latias or Kyurem. Excited to see that.
Yeah,
And then I think it's really cool how he's got like a bunch of ground weak mons, but Levitate and Zapdos to kind of beat that. Yeah, I don't know, really solid team.
for sure. So we have the Boston Greenbats here, coached by Foothead, with probably one of the best teams I've seen in the Zekrom division. It's Sun with Chiyu, Roaring Moon, Walking Wake, Sandy Shocks, Mega Venusaur, all to be able to abuse the sun. And then, I mean, there's the gimmicky Glimmet as well as Spidops, and then Valiant and Celesteela, which are just, really good mons, being Fairy and Steel. They're just good at what they do. Steela with its infinite number of sets and infinite number of coverage moves as well. I mean, same could be said for Valiant. I mean, it can go physical, it can go special. Um, yeah, and that's not even to mention all of the Sun abusers. I mean, you could go in about each one of them as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason people say Valiant would kind of roll this team when they're just talking about stuff in general, and that's because of how good of a mon it is. It does feel a little bit out of place on this team, I think. I know Foothead was trying to trade up for Great Tusk or any form of hazard removal, and it didn't go through. But yeah, the amount of ways that they can just break with Sun Mons is actually insane. I think the 4 Mons following Valiant are all going to be interesting to see. Mega Venusaur too with Weather Ball. Um, I think if I were to make one change to this team, I'd do either Glimmet or Spidops and change them into like Quaxwell or any form of spinner.
That's a good idea, yeah. I
But
mean, like the thing with Glimmet and Spidops is you can actually, and even Sandy. I mean, you can make your opponent want to defog.
yeah, I'm a big Spidops apologist, so I'm not gonna. I wouldn't usually say to get rid of him, but I don't really know if you need webs if you can just photosynthesis boost speed on half these mons.
Yeah, that's a good point too. And yeah, I mean, Mega Venusaur gets chlorophyll when it's not Mega, because you don't have
Yep.
to Mega evolve. Of course, you have to hold the Mega Stone, of course, but you can still growth and abuse chlorophyll even as a Mega Pokemon. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Looking at
like,
his weaknesses, it's not too bad either. It's just a little bit too ground, but Steela kind of beats that. And then, I guess rocks.
Yeah, weak to rocks. Nothing boots can't fix on Ninetales. Um,
Yep.
or even boots on Chiyu. Um,
Water too, but it's not really an issue when you've got like
when you have
sun on
Wake
top of you.
and Sun.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
a really powerful team. The only issue is not really an issue, but kind of minor nitpick. He doesn't have much recovery. Leech Seed, Steela is like the only thing. And then like rest on Animon. I guess Giga Drain on Venusaur too, but I'm very interested to see if he just rolls through everything or if he starts struggling a bit.
I'm curious on that too. Is Hazard's going to be too much of a problem? Is Hazard or is opponent like is the opponent's Hazards going to be too much for him, or is he going to have no problem and just sweep regardless?
Yep.
Um,
The
so
big
sh
four up front, Shiyu, Roaring Moon, Walking Awake, and Valiant, absolutely dominant when they were all in OU, in Gen 9. So,
it's just crazy that
well,
a team is able to draft all four of them.
yeah, I don't know how this guy's gonna like. How do you even prep for this team?
Um,
Kind of
yeah,
a
I mean, like,
rhetorical question, because I don't know if there's a good answer.
I mean, who let him draft all? Who let him draft that? I mean, yeah, I give this team a 10. I mean, good luck beating this team.
I'd say 9.5,
No.
because there are no hazards, but other than that, good luck.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
I
9.5.
mean, technically, hazards don't have to be that much of a big deal if you just force them to switch. Like, I don't think Roaring Moon, Walking Wake, or like, or Sandy Shocks or Valiant for that matter are just gonna be switching too much. So
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
fair point. I mean, he does have a semi-volt turn core with Moon and Shocks. Um, but yeah, I mean that's a good point. Yeah, I mean hazards might not even be an issue for him because, even if something takes 25 to 50% every time they switch in, are they gonna switch out? Like you just
probably
agility,
not.
agility with Wake, and that mon's never switching out.
Yeah,
It's just gonna click Hydro Steam or Dragon Pulse or Flamethrower. I mean, yeah.
when
Um,
Shiyu or Roaring Moon come out, they're either coming out dead or half the team on the other side is coming out dead.
yeah, it's as simple as that. I mean, especially with no Terra, like there's not a way that you can really, like, you can't bring in a Steelmon, Terra Water, and then like trick, a lot of the team into clicking a fire move or clicking a water move. Like, there's just because there's no Terra, there's no real like, there's just not a good counter. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yep,
because the mon's gonna know what's super effective, the mon's gonna click that button, and you're gonna just die. And GG.
I think that's a good way of putting it.
Um, so yeah, I mean 9.5 because of the no hazards, but I mean it no hazard removal, but I mean it's practically a 10. I mean this is insane. So we have the San Diego Shiny Shrews next, coached by
And
Zand. With electric terrain as the gimmick this time. Abusers being Sneasler, Iron Treads, and Iron Bundle. I guess Pikachu counts too. Let's not sleep on Pikachu. And then Coco is the only setter. Now, you might be asking yourself, well then what's Arbolivia doing there? And which I will respond, I don't know. I don't know why a Mon that would revert their own terrain is on the team. I mean, I guess you can run Harvest instead of Seed Sower and be fine. And you can run it as some sort of stalling Leech Seed. But why would you want to stall your own electric terrain in the
yeah,
first place? I mean, Rapska's a cool pick. You know, everybody's saying Revival Blessing was so OP, so I'm hoping that he's able to use Revival Blessing in an OP manner, but we shall see what happens. I think they're the only person to get a Revival Blessing mon out of
yeah.
both
I
leagues.
believe there's a gentleman's agreement not to, or at least that's what most people thought. But
Um,
um, I there's no strict rules in place saying you couldn't. This team's a little bit weird. I think Arboliva, like, was kind of drafted as an EQ counter, because the only other mon is Salamence, and you'd have to run, like, Roost on that thing.
That's a good point.
Um,
Yeah, wow. EQ goes insane. The only encounters are Believer and Rabska, as well as Mence.
Rabsco's hardly a counter.
I know that's
That
what I'm
thing is
saying.
literally just crafted for its whatever revival blessing spam.
Yeah, but like, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, wow, the EQ is so crazy into this team, as well as rocks. Rocks are also insane into this team.
Yep. I think Sneasler with its like unburdened E-Seed, that could be pretty good. Tapu Koko, pretty solid mon. But this guy's basically got 4 mons that he's always gonna bring to every match, and then the rest is just okay at best.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
Rabsca, I guess, but
you have Shell Smash Crustles, Shell Smash Blastoise, Weak
Z-Rock,
Armor. Yeah, Z-Rock Rigor on Crustle. You have, Ceruledge, Weak Armor stuff. You got DD Salamence. You have Revival Blessing. I mean, you can even run Pikachu.
Pikachu fake out Rising Voltage with a Light Orb. That could be nice.
Yeah,
Base 90 speed. I mean, it's nothing great, but on an E-Terrain team, it kind of gets outshined.
right.
The thing I'm kind of worried about is whoever has to fight this guy. I know Bundle is especially hard to deal with on some teams, but like killing Bundle and thinking it's over, and then he whips out Rabsca and just hits a Revival Blessing. That's gotta hurt. Like, especially with the rules where Revival Blessing doesn't add to your differential.
Right.
It's not
Yeah.
gonna be fun
If
fighting
if
this
you
guy.
revive, yeah, nothing. You'll never be. Yeah. I mean, there won't be like 7-0 or anything like that. It'll just be, um, what it is what it is. Um, So I mean, like, yeah, I mean, bundle's an issue. You don't have a fat water type, you won't be able to do too well against it. I mean, it gets freeze dry even for the fat water types. Um, you can always just do the tried and true strat to beating bundle, and that's dodge a hydro pump.
Yup.
That's easily the best way to beat bundle. It's effective 20% of the time.
Or just set up rocks and it dies.
Yeah,
Yeah, rocks and EQ, as you said before, definitely go hard into this team.
yeah, that's like what's really crazy about the team.
Other than
Um,
that, you'd think you'd have more flying type counters for an E-Terrain team. But
yeah, that
I
too.
mean, he's neutral to it, but it's only because of that 1 point Pikachu.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because the only switch-ins to flying are Treads, Coco, and Pikachu. I mean, Coco and Treads being two good ones, but yeah, I mean, like, Landorus into this team, ground EQ, and then like, I guess it doesn't get Terrafly or not. Well, yeah, it doesn't get Terrafly, and it doesn't get Z Fly either, so it's not too crazy. But I mean, like a Gyarados into this team, EQ, you know,
Dragon Dance, and then whatever water type thing you're running.
Waterfall, and
That'd go
then Z
crazy.
Fly, and yeah, that could be a
I
little
think
insane.
if I was gonna add something to this team, Persian Alola feels kind of out of place. You've already got some great speed tiers. I'd combine like Blastoise because you already have a spinner, and then Persian Alola and I don't know, Crustle, I guess. I don't feel like Z-Rock Wrecker justifies it, but do that and maybe get like an actual hazard setter
Yeah,
or
that's
like
fair.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
This guy seems alright. I didn't think they'd be able to make an alright E-Terrain team. Like in the other league with Nick, not Nicholas. His E-Terrain team is gonna be an absolute nightmare.
yeah, that's an insane electric terrain team. Um, can we also take mention that they managed to get one of every type on this team?
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Um,
Um, I don't know. I think maybe a better Pursuit Trapper instead of Personal. No, I'm gonna stop picking this guy's team apart. Do you
yeah.
have a rating for it?
I'm gonna give it a. I mean, I'm gonna give it an 8. I mean, Coco plus, Coco bundle treads, Sneasler is enough to be an 8.
Yeah,
I don't really care what else is on the team. I mean, those 4 mons are already insane as it is.
yeah. I think that those are kind of gonna be the backbone. This guy could probably just run 5 mons to every game, and the outcome would be the same.
Next up, we have the Jolly Bee-Girls, coached by Bleedle. A very strong team as far as cores go, with Palafin, Meowscarada, Rotom Heat, and Latios, Skarmory, and Sylveon. It's an interesting team. Definitely, just grabbing very strong mons and then that's it. Like, rather other teams would kind of spread out the points. This team is just very small, pool of mons, but very, you know, getting good value out of those points. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think I just noticed this, but the only mon that's not in Gen 9 OU is Latios. So there's some similarities there to I forgot what his name. Ravier. Yeah.
Robbie, yeah, I was kind of saying the Gen 9 theme with Meowscarada Great Tusk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean it's interesting. It's actually I think it's really cool with the Skarmory Meow combo, how they both can set rocks and spikes, as well
Yep.
as having T spikes on Gengar and Meow. So really, and then good hazard control with Skarm, Rotom, Lati. I think, oh no, and Rapid Spin on Tusk. Um, and then good momentum between Meow and Rotom. I mean, it's a very solid team. Um, well balanced as far as speed goes. Um,
I
yeah, I
think
mean,
the
like,
type matchup chart is pretty nice too. Only weak to ice. I
yeah,
know it's not everything, but pretty good so far.
for sure. I mean, Palafin coming in on ice moves is not really what you want to do. But I mean, Sylveon's going to come in on a lot of ice moves, and Skarmory is, a physical wall, and like Sylveon being a spit F wall, Skarmory being a fizz wall. I mean, like technically they can come in on ice moves, so it's not the end of the world. Um, but yeah, I mean, like Rotom without a good reliable way to heal outside of Pain Split, it kind of sucks to be switching in so often because you can't run leftovers if rocks are up. Um, and since you're running heavy duty boots, and Palafin doesn't really want to switch in all the time. It kind of wants to, you know, be offensive.
I think the removal between Great Tusk and Rotom Heat's gonna be really good, because one of them's weak to rocks and the other one resists it.
Yeah,
So you can always bring one or the other depending on how rocks weak your mons are.
yeah.
Um,
It's just a
yeah, I don't
really
know.
strong team. Like it's like it doesn't have like a gimmick to it. Like there's like a lot of the teams that we look at, we're like, wow, this is like a really good gimmick, like Sun, Terrain, blah blah blah. But like this is one of the teams where it just has two really good cores, and then because they're so expensive cores that it works really well. I mean, basically
Yeah.
having almost one of every type. Um,
The only
yeah,
potential issue I could see is having three Z move users. Like you don't get a lot of freedom compared to like I don't know this very expensive draft, but the points were well spent, so I'm not complaining.
yeah. I could definitely say that about Z moves because really Sylveon doesn't want to use Z moves, and Rotom is probably never going to run anything other than boots.
Yeah,
So maybe we see Dunsparce running some Heat Z moves. Um,
that thing kind
but
of wants a Violate
it
though,
kind of wants to
so I don't
violate,
know.
yeah. So
I
yeah,
mean, you never know. Could happen. But I'm excited to see where this team takes Bleedle. He's renounced his ways as an E-Terrain user.
is that what he normally goes for? Goes
I
for?
don't know. That's what I saw last time, and
Uh,
not a fan.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I would easily give this team probably like a 7.58.
I think that's fair. Maybe like yeah, 8.5.
Yeah,
One of the higher ranking teams.
for sure. Next up, we have Mary, the coach of the Singaporean Score Bunnies, with this Demon Time team starring Urshifu Single Strike, along with Mega Gardevoir, and then Lando T and Iron Moth. Kind of the big four of this team. But then there's also even more threats considering Golden Go. Um, uh, there's Garg, there's Cyclizar, Shed-Tail's banned, but I mean Cyclizar is still a pretty big threat with regen, rapid spin, that kind of thing. Yeah, how do you feel about this team?
This team's like big threat. I was gonna say they have Firewater Grass core, but Sceptile is not really a core member, you know. Urshifu
Right.
Single, Golden Go, and Rotom Wash make like a really solid team because they just hit each other's weaknesses.
Hmm.
Golden Go hits Urshifu's fairies. Rotom eats earthquakes for Golden Go, and like I don't know. Urshifu doesn't do anything for Rotom, but he's just really strong. So you can just Volt Turn into him and basically win games. Type chart's really good too. It's just a really solid team. The speed tiers are nice. I think there is a little bit of a problem. Like this team kind of needs, not really, but you kind of need someone to like go ahead and clean up people on low HP. Someone that's just really fast. Because I don't know if you want to bring Sceptile to every game or like Scarf Moth, I guess. But usually you're going to want to run Booster Energy and like setup or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think the booster energy and speed is definitely a set that could clean up in the late game for this team. I mean, booster energy and speed, um, it's just such an insane mon. I mean, I love this thing. Um, 4 coverage moves with booster energy and speed, and it's really hard to have something that'll switch into it. Um, and it can just clean a team in the end, as well as I mean, there's Swirlix for webs. Um, there's Sceptile and Burden, which I know you said not something you really want to bring every week, but I mean it's an option. I mean Scarf Urshifu is a thing. Wicked Blow really doesn't have a good switch in. Scarf Golden Go is also a good cleaner. Uh, Even Scarf
Yeah.
Lando. Uh,
I mean, yeah.
Mega Gardevoir gets agility too, I believe. So I mean, there's no shortage as far as speed um, on the team.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was talking earlier about speed, but I never really noticed. Like, the majority of the team is between 110 and 80 speed, which
yeah,
I think is pretty cool. You can basically slap a scarf on any of these mons, except for Rotom Wash, because he doesn't. I mean, technically,
you could. Yeah,
yeah,
Scarf
you
Rotom
can just
Wash
put a
is a
scarf on
thing.
anyone here, and
Yes,
they just clean up.
yeah. I mean, Rotom Wash also gets the neat ability to trick the Choice Scarf
Oh
as
yeah,
well, to kind of say, "Well, I was Scarf, but now you have a Scarf, and you know, sucks."
true.
Um, Pretty good way of like crippling like a Clodsire that would ordinarily wall it, or other mons like that. Um,
Swirlix is kind of a interesting pick. I guess Sweet Veil. I didn't know it gets unburdened. That's kind of cool.
That is pretty
Um,
funny. Double in burdens to end the draft because gems are legal. But it's also sticky webs, so
Oh, right, right.
that's the
Yeah.
main appeal. Um,
Last issue I saw, kind of with Blue's team too. No Z move users except for, I guess, Garganackle, but you're not really using Garganackle.
Offensively, yeah. I mean,
Cyclizar, I guess. You
Cyclizar
can
could
still
hit a
play
devastating
Draco.
Drake, yeah, with Draco. Um, yeah, I mean, Sceptile's not going to want, because Sceptile and Swirlix are going to want to run something that loses their item, so they can, be
Or a
unburdened.
Violet on Horlicks, but
Or, yeah, Violate Swirlix as well. Or even just Focus Sash. Um,
yeah, a lot
Cyc-
of pivot potential too. The
Cyclizar's probably running EV. Garga's probably running leftovers. Um, yeah. Uh, yeah. I mean, I really like this team. I can't really see anything that I'm like, that's not too good, or maybe something I would change. I mean, it's just really good. I mean, um, yeah. I honestly like. I'm trying to think of something that like maybe that doesn't work, but no. I mean, I really like this team. I really do.
yeah, I don't think the team's really missing anything. We've got like a pretty solid team all around.
Yeah. I would definitely give this team probably a 9, maybe even
Yeah, I'm
9.5.
fair.
And last but not least, we have the coach of the Lebanon Landorus, Crow. His team consists of Dragapult, Landorus, Ferrothorn, Alolan Muck, Florges, Lantern, Victini, Megamane, Terrakion, Ambipom, and Frostmoth. This is another one of those teams that managed to draft one of every type. Um, Along with drafting one of every type, the biggest thing I see in this team is that ground weakness is very apparent. Only switching to a ground type move is going to be Landorus. I mean, Frostmoth is a resist, but it's not a real resist. Um, I mean, I really like Dragapult Landorus as a strong offensive core, but then the team kind of takes a really big defensive nature with the next 4 picks, and then picks back up again with offense at the last 5. So like, I feel like it kind of like it's trying to like it's very spread out in what it can do. I mean,
My problem with this team is that Ferrothorn is gonna have to have rocks and slash or spikes every single week. There's
Yep.
like 3 rockers and only one of them is real.
That's
I
true.
think that's a good way of putting it. I mean, I don't like, I think it's interesting, but Dragapult and Landorus are both mixed. If you go like Sheer Force Lando or just, I don't know, Choice Band or Choice Specs Dragapult.
Right, yeah.
Um, I think Mega Manectric for 4 was a really good pick, but if you went Rotom Wash or something over Lantern, that could have maybe eliminated one of the ground weaknesses.
Yeah, I really don't like
Just seems,
I don't like Lantern
yeah.
hair at all.
I
I
think we're
really don't.
held back a little bit by the one of every type thing.
Yeah, I mean the one of every type would be better if it was like a water steel instead of a grass steel and then a pure grass. But then water
Yeah.
steel still makes you weak to earthquake. I mean like that's just such a big flaw with the team is like earthquake is such a free thing to spam. It's one of the hardest hitting moves in the game. So I mean like I mean sure they drafted one of the best earthquake spammers in Landorus, but I mean you still have Lando T to face. You still have Great Tusk. I mean, like, seriously, give me a good answer to this team for Great Tusk. It just runs Scarf and clicks Headlong Rush all day.
Yep. I think you're gonna be need to running like either Hidden Power Ice on Lando or Manectric basically every game
Yeah.
if you want to have a chance against those grass types. Frostmoth feels kind of like shoehorned in here. I mean, it
And
does
so does
follow the type
Victini.
chart, but I don't know. It's just not good.
Like
Frostmoth was
there's
definitely.
Victini. Go on.
Yeah, Frostmoth is definitely. Oh man, I'm missing an Ice and a Bug type. Let me grab
But then
Frostmoth.
but then there's like Victini at 16 points with a Dragapult and a Lando Eye. So Victini isn't gonna be scarfed. It's either gonna be boots or maybe banned, and those are like the only 2 real other Victini sets because there's no Omni boosting Victini.
Right.
Um, and there's no hazard. There's no hazards or hazard removal on this team other than
Florges, Defog,
Lorges.
and
Lando
Landorus.
default.
I mean, Frostmoth, I guess, if you want to defog,
No,
but that's not real.
Frostmoth is
That's not
not
real.
hazard removal. It dies to rocks.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean, you could
Boots.
put boots on it, but then like it's forced to run, and it's already forced to run boots. But it's a frost mob, so it sucks even with the boots. There's like randomly a lantern on this team for some
Yeah, I
reason.
really don't
Yeah.
like Lantern here. I feel like Lantern could have been any other bulky water, and we'd be better off.
I feel like
Especially
Victini
because
could
we're
have
already
been
doubling up
literally
on
anything
electric.
else.
Victini being
Victini
something
should
else
have
too.
been,
Yeah.
yeah. Victini should not be Victini because Victini's like a really strong mon because it forces switches, but like none of the other mons he has on his team really benefit from the switches Victini forces, right?
Yeah.
Like if you bring in Pulp, they're gonna go out to their fairy or their steel. Victini can come in on one of those. The other Victini is probably getting blown away by some form of ground or dark move.
Yeah, I
Or at least
mean,
worn down.
what isn't getting blown away on this team by a ground move?
I'm looking at the defensive stats right now. Basically, the only person who's going to be able to take an earthquake is Ferrothorn, and
Yeah.
it's not even going to be able to hit back that hard because does it even have a good attacking grass move besides Leech Seed?
It's
Power
Power
Whip
Whip,
Smile?
Power Whip, I guess.
but I mean, good luck landing it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are like. It, Banded Ferrothorn has been a thing before. Now, if it's been the best thing, no. But it has been real. So I can at least say that there is a world in which they bring the Power Whip because they know they're that weak to the Earthquake. But that doesn't feel good. You
No.
know,
Yeah, I mean, like, the defensive core is kind of weird on this team. Like, I don't.
there isn't one, in my opinion.
I mean, true, but like, Ferrothorn, Muck, and Florges are kind of like that defensive core, if you will. I mean, like, I just don't see, like, what Muck trapping Ghost does for the team.
Does it get Pursuit?
Yeah, that's like the big thing. Like Muck is the ultimate
Oh.
trapping mon
Oh,
when it
plus
comes
it's
to
got Poison
ghosts
Cup. Yeah, that's
because
pretty good.
it's got, it can run an EV. It's got incredible bulk, but I mean, like, but what does it get? Like, what does this team gain out of trapping a ghost type?
Victini and Dragapult get in more easily, but like Dragapult's already killing all the ghosts. And
Yeah.
But
Victini's
most
got
of the
other
ghosts,
stuff
if they
too.
see a Pult on the other team, that means they're gonna be a scarf ghost, which
Yeah.
I guess allows Muck into pursuit, but
Yeah.
Muck's not really killing them because Muck has to be Spadef so they can take the ghost moves in the first place,
You could
which
go
then
assault
means that
vest.
Pult has to be Scarf in reverse, so it's not outsped by other ghosts, and it's just like this vicious cycle of dog shit moves and items on bad Pokemon.
I think a assault vest mock could technically work, but this thing's like, what's its attack stat? 105? I mean, it's not awful, but like,
I think he drafted
wasn't.
3 Mons that were really, really good. Pult, Lando Eye, Pharaoh, and then forgot what he was doing. That's what
Yep.
this feels like. Like these three Mons are insane individually, but they don't work well together.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like, the team definitely went off into the tangent, like, we said, with drafting one of every type, and, guess it just kind of makes it weird.
Like
I
another
think,
Mon that completely deletes this team, and it's funny that I'm saying this, is look at this team and then put a Kyurem on the other side of the game. What do they do?
It's
Like
always,
I
it's
understand
always
Kyurem is
Kyurem.
just one of those Mons, but what does this team do against a Kyurem or a Chien Pao or a or bundle? Like any good ice type blows this team up.
yeah, Terrakion's basically your only switch in. I think
And I
the way
guess
this
you could go
team is,
Victini, but that's a funny joke.
Yeah, I mean, Lantern is going to be the bundle wall. I mean, water
Freeze
absorb.
dry
no,
smile.
freeze dry.
Yeah, freeze dry exists. I guess that's true. Um, yeah, I
It's kind
mean,
of like funny how this team is drafted because it perfectly describes how these mons are grouped up. Like the first 3 are good mons, the
yeah.
middle 3 are questionable, and then the last is just like, I don't even know
Well,
what's
I mean,
going
the
on.
the next 3 are another good 3 Mons. The final 2 are kind of, jokes. But
You
like,
put
Yeah.
Lantern in as the next good 3 Mons.
no. The first 3 are good. The middle 3 are kind of weird. I mean, Victini, Mega Mane, and Terrakion are pretty good Mons. I mean, sure they don't really fit on the team, but I mean, Mega Mane is incredible value at 4 points. Terrakion, I mean, it's kind of fallen off over the years, but and it doesn't even get access to Z moves, so it's kind of a little bad. I mean, Victini's still good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Terrakion kind of. I feel like Terrakion fits on the team very well just because it's a good knockoff switching. I mean, obviously it'd be a better knockoff switching if it had a Z move, because it wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
take the bonus damage.
And then just hit them with like Continental Crush or something,
Be-
and they just die.
because you're probably gonna spam knockoff against this team, because of Dragapult, because of Victini, because of Landorus. Um,
Ferrothorn is the other like real knockoff switch in, because you've got Iron Barbs, and then
yeah,
I mean, yeah, you've got Iron Barbs.
yeah. As well as, I mean, Muck kind of can take them, but you lose an AV, you lose Black Sludge. Things that you kind of don't want to lose.
Are we talking
Um,
about dark types now? Yeah.
just
Yeah.
just dark type switch-ins for the team. Um,
There's like one real ghost switch in, which we had talked about before. There's like one real ground switch in.
it's kind of like Florgus and Ferrothorn are trying to hold the whole team together as far as
Yep.
defenses.
But like, yeah. But then they both get, by any good fighting mon that's gonna have the coverage for the Florges.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's basically it. I mean like Zamazenta, Fighting Steel. I mean even Lucario. I mean
Literally any good fighting mon that gets poison jab can beat this team.
that too. Any good ground type like Mamoswine on this team. I mean like there's so many like one moners that can just like even Sub Chomp. I mean like Sub Chomp is insane into this team.
I
EQ
think any
Scale
sub
Shot.
dragon is insane in this team because they have to go Pult to beat it, or they have to pray that Florges can't get stalled by it.
Yeah.
But if they go like sub protect toxic, that's just the end of the game.
Yeah, a ground type Sub Protect Toxic and good luck. Yeah, I mean overall I think the team I don't know. I mean, I would say probably a 6 or a 7 as far as the team goes. Like, I think it'll work. Um, like looking at it, there's definitely things that can break it. But
Mhm.
I think with the offensive presence of a lot of the Mons on the team, I think it can work. I mean, being forced to bring Fairthorn pretty much every week for hazards. I mean, outside of the occasional downturn with Landers. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't
Um,
be comfortable giving this thing a 7. I mean, with Hidden Power 2, if you're running Ferrothorn every week, you're just gonna get one shot by HP Fire, and then that's gonna be it, because your defensive core is shot.
that
But
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this guy's gonna be carried by
we
Lando
haven't
and
even
Dragon.
talked about the immense fire weakness this team has.
Does it
The
have a?
only fire switching is fucking Terrakion and Dragapult.
I mean,
I guess
Lantern,
Victini to a lesser
Lantern,
extent.
Lantern exists. Victini. I mean, Florgus is a good fire switch in too.
The problem is Lantern
Clearly.
can only come in what, let's say twice on a fire move. Then it has to volt switch out. If it's leftovers, that means it's coming back in on rocks. And if it's boots, that means it doesn't have leftovers, which means it's not coming back in.
Yeah, Lantern's just, like, you'd think it'd be good in theory, but it's just worse real-time wash in
Basically.
every single way.
It
Yeah.
doesn't get pain split. Its only recovery is rest, which means you're running Resto Chesto on a very slow mon with no bulk.
Unless you predict water or volt absorb.
I mean, the team has good volt switching, like volt turning. I mean, Lando, Dragapult both get U-turn. Mega Man gets volt switch. Um, Victini gets U-turn. So I mean,
Yeah.
like the offensive mons do have good momentum. Would have been cool to be able to stack hazards and then keep up momentum type thing, but um, yeah, I mean, Florgus being able to wish up as well. Yeah,
Origins is just like the kind of cleric backbone of the team. It's got heal bell, it's got wish, and that's what's holding the team together.
Yep.
yeah.
So
So yeah,
like
solid
6,
6.
6.5.
I think solid 6 is good for this team.
Yeah, I can't give this team any higher than like a 5. And that's like really stretching it. You're gonna get carried by Holt and Landowide doing the things that they do.
But yeah, then we will get on to giving our final rankings for the league or for the division. Alrighty, so that about wraps up the power rankings for the Zekrom division. Here is our final rankings. It's kind of difficult to rank this one. I mean, there's very, very good teams. Like teams that we said that were like an 8 are like down in 7, 9, and I mean that's just going to be the kind of the case as far as this division goes because of just how the high quality of it is. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are down in the description. And we will catch you in the next video. Peace.